I gotta be honest with you, man. I could have played that whole thing, that whole beat one more time. That was that damn good. Guys, let me know if the audio is working out all right as well. I'm just want to make sure I got everybody here and they're not muted and everybody sounds lovely. So guys in the chat, please let me know if everything is sounding good and to your liking. I want to first and foremost take a second here, man, because I told you guys this last week. When I started doing the show and I said I wanted to do this, a gentleman by the name of C-Note Matthews Jr. This man is just a talented musician. I think he's in the chat right now. He stays low. You know what I mean? He stays under the radar. So shout out to C-Note. You guys can follow him at C-Note Matthews Jr. Man, this guy is just an unbelievable musician with talent. You should see some of the other stuff he has sent me for future weeks. So I want to say shout out and thank you to C-Note for that, man. Because honestly, every week that's going to be a different track. You guys are hearing a different track every single week. So that being said, let's get into this show tonight. I'm not going to do the traditional round the table. I'm just going to introduce you guys. I know these guys all so well, and I'm just going to go ahead and introduce them. The great Eric Jackson is here. You guys know him from Crossfire on Friday. He was our voice of reason. He kept everybody in check. He's here with us tonight. The great Persona, as you guys know, gaming with Persona over on YouTube. The great Jay Barry, who's with him. That's the What's Up. I got the What's Up PlayStation gang here tonight. And the great Wilmy Hood, you guys know as well from Gaming Beyond the Box. Guys, this is a second week. We are going to go ahead and dive into Infection Episode 2 reactions with what I call the Last of Us superfans. And, you know, Eric, I'm going to go ahead and start with you. I want to do what we did last week. I have questions set aside. We'll get to them at the end. But I really want to know what you thought of Episode 2 and how you kind of felt, E. Seriously, how did you feel when we went from an outstanding Episode 1 and you thought maybe that couldn't have been topped? Did they top it, and how did they?
Well, first, let me say, Mooch, thanks for having me. This is the perfect panel to be a part of, and all these guys here are fans of the game, first and foremost, and going to this show. And, yeah, the music that you put in front of that was a vibe, man. That was dope. So, hats off. What you said the other guy's name was that made it?
C-Note Matthew.
C-Note. Yeah, hats off to C-Note. That was good stuff. But, yeah, to answer your question, this show, it's amazing what this show is doing for the fact that all of us here have played The Last of Us, you know, probably more than once, I'm sure. But somehow they get this vibe where you're just like, you get this weird vibe that you don't know what's going to happen, even though you know what's going to happen. You know, that's how they're kind of like setting the tone of it. And it's just like, so far for me as a fan, it's just been like wow moments. Like when they walk out, you know, they push the door open, come out, you know, onto the landscape or whatever, and you see like the buildings and everything. You're like, it's amazing just like how much they captured the essence and the vibe, and how they're carrying this balance of, you know, introducing it to people who've never touched the game, don't know anything about this world, but also giving the vibe to the people who do know the world and are very familiar with it, but still adding those new things in. So yeah, it's just the tone. That's all I can say. This episode really, you know, where the first episode just kind of gave you that introduction. This one really set the tone to, you know, newcomers and veterans alike of where we're going and what's about to unfold and what this world entails. I know we'll get there. I don't want to go too much into, you know, how the episode unfolded, but just in general. Yeah.
Well, just like every Friday you join us on Crossfire, let me just say thank you for that segue right into Persona. Persona, he said it. They're setting the tone right here, Persona. And there was a lot of gamers that were really, really kind of, I say we were all in question, right? How are we going to see Neil Druckmann? How are we going to see the producers, the directors from HBO deal with some of the issues that were going on as far as spores and how they kind of change that completely, how they set the tone here? Do you think we are going in the right direction? And also, please feel free to explain how you feel about Episode 2 from the start to the end. And I've got questions that we're going to dive into after everybody gets their piece in.
Oh, yeah. First off, can you hear me? Are we clear?
Absolutely. Crystal.
Okay, cool. First off, yo, shout out to who made that beat for you, man. I was vibing to that, man. I'm like, yo,
vibe, right, man?
That's a vibe, man. I'm like, hold on, I might have to hit him up on the side for some beats for the channel. Hold up.
He's in the chat right now, Persona. C-Note is in the chat. He's just an outstanding individual. I talked to him behind the scenes, and just his listen, coming from me, I can't draw a stick figure of people. I got no artistic talent. So when I get the opportunity to meet these wonderful people in the community, I can't stop praising them. But yeah, it's definitely C-Note. I'll send all the information out your way, Persona, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, listen, I'm gonna be honest. I was one of the people, like, I've always was hyped for the Last of Us TV show. I was one of the reasons why I was confident is because Neil Druckmann and was involved, right? When you got the developers who created this project who's very passionate, that's actually putting this out and they're monitoring and making sure that this works. I'm like, all right, this is definitely something that is really going to respect the source material, right? Now, obviously, we knew that there was going to be changes and it wasn't going to be a one-to-one, which I'm fine with. So the fact that they're respecting the source material here, especially with the second episode, and the fact that this is the episode that Neil Druckmann directed.
Yes.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is big. Make or break for me. I'm like, all right, if this is on point, this definitely is going to be a solid series. But in terms of the second episode, I was blown away. You know, I love the first episode with Sarah and everyone and how it all came together. This second episode, the atmosphere, the chaos, the tests, the tendrils, all of it just comes together so well in this second episode. And it really sells it. It really brings it home at the end with how they had Tess go out. And, you know, one of the things I definitely want to like really call out with this second episode is actually the very beginning of the episode when they were in Indonesia looking for that I believe she was like a biochem scientist or something like that, whoever she was.
Yeah.
And that whole sense of, you know, she sees what's going on, and then she's sitting down. It transitions to her and the cop dude sitting down, having tea, and he's like, "So what do we do?" And she's like, "Bomb it all."
Yes.
I'm sitting there, I'm just like, I had to rewind. Like, did she say what I think she just said? What's going on here? And I love the second episode, man. It really hit home for me, man. This is definitely going to be a solid. They're on the right track. If this is how it's working, it's on the right track. One of the things that I tried to, I especially with the second episode, I had to turn my gamer brain off because I'm like, you know, when they get to certain sections, I'm like, all right, this is the stealth scene. This is where they're going through the building. This is where they're doing this and that. Oh, this is a show, not the game. Let me turn my gamer brain off, and it just came together so well.
You know, and again, I gotta say, you guys are doing an outstanding job for me. I'm the host here, and you guys are doing outstanding segues right into it. Jay Boii, Persona touched on something I got to ask you. So I'll start with this question and then go into exactly how you felt about how the second episode hit you. But right there, when Persona said, and actually the professor's name was Professor Ratna. Yeah,
Ratna. Yeah, thank you.
Right.
Thank you.
And so when she came down and she took a look at everything and she asked those questions to that military, I believe it was Indonesian military, he legitimately looked over and he said that, you know, she said, this came from a human. He's like, and no answer. Just a flat face, just saying basically no expression, fear in his eyes. Yes. So let me ask you, Jay Boii.
Okay.
The Sarah scene with Joel, that gets you in the feels, whether it's the 8th time you've played the game. It got you last week with Pedro Pascal. Let me ask you this. Did they one up the beginning again and get you somewhere more in the feels with the fact when the professor said there is absolutely no cure, there's no medicine, there's no vaccine, and the only answer was to bomb, terminate. Yeah. What did you feel about that beginning? Do you think that they just keep taking a step forward at the beginning of each of these and outdoing the beginning of the last one? And what'd you think of episode 2 as a whole?
Yeah, I felt like episode 2 was another great setup episode. I felt like it kind of not surpassed, but it kind of leveled. It's the same playing field as episode 1. You know, everyone seeing Sarah's death was pretty significant. You know, I mean, definitely like tugging the heartstrings and things like that, an emotional level. But episode 2 setup was more on like a panic level. And the reason why I love the setup, because it set 2 things up for episode 2, right? When they had that Indonesia scene, you know, they were the doctor or the professor was asking, where did this happen? And the general, he said pretty much on a flour and a wheat factory, right? Yep. If you notice a lot of things in episode 1, the things that like the Adlers, what they were eating, biscuits, cookies, and you notice what the professor said, oh, flour, wheat, oh, that's a great substrate.
Yep.
For the fungus. So they kind of giving you a little tidbit here as far as like, oh, this is how the fungus is spreading so massively, because this could be one of the components that it's getting into the flour, it's getting into people, people baking, and these are things that people do on a constant basis, everyday level, right? And we've seen that in the first episode. You notice the things that Joel, Sarah, Tommy was avoiding the first episode?
No,
Things with flour. Remember? No pancakes. There was no pancake mix.
Yeah, look at Boii, the detective.
The cake. No cake. He didn't get the cake.
He didn't buy the cake. No pancake.
So the setup as far as like how this can
look at Detective Boii. What's going on here, man? Hold up, man. Hold on. I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, hold up. Yo, you right. You just put two and two. Look at Detective.
Just when I thought he had enough nicknames, he goes and gives himself Detective Boii. That's gonna.
I don't have the best list for YouTube for nothing, man. You know what I mean? Absolutely. But that's another great thing that they set up in this episode. Like, yo, this is how fast this thing can spread as far as like, okay, it's getting into people's daily livelihood as far as them cooking and baking and whatnot. Another thing it's set up for episode 2 is how important Ellie is. Because now that you switch it to this whole tendrils type of functionality, how this the fungus is moving, we want to see how important she will be. And that's why, Persona brought up the whole conversation with the doctor and the professor and the soldier, saying like, so what can we do? There's no win. You can't win. You know what I mean? In her brain for studying, what's it called? Like mycology or something like that. I forgot the name of what she was studying. There's no win. So the one thing that you should do is bomb. And obviously they took that to heart because we see the bombings and all that stuff, 20 years later, all that stuff. But it also set up that, this random girl is immune to something that everybody perceives as there's no win. This is going to elevate her importance within this world that they created for the TV show.
Yes.
And probably bring that same type of dramatic, decision that Joel will make later on the show. So I love the setup for episode 2, but we don't go talk about the setup. We ain't gonna get to anything else. I ain't gonna try to, patty wap. I'm gonna shut up. But I just love the setup.
One more thing before.
Go ahead, Persona.
One more thing about the tendrils. I was somebody, and this was like a couple of weeks before the show went live, when they said there wasn't going to be any spores. Is someone that has played The Last of Us like 1,000,001 times. I was definitely like, hold up, no spores. We're missing, there's big parts that's tied to the spores.
Yeah.
That if that stuff is not there, it can potentially hurt the dynamic. But especially when Tess was explaining how the tendrils work in the second episode, when they were overlooking that swarm that looks very Days Gone-ish, which I loved. I was definitely getting Days Gone vibes from that swarm and how they're all connected, and the tendril could be for miles and miles away. Infected will know and come to it. And then we see that with the death of old boy in the room. I'm like, yo, this tendril,
that's low-key as scary as the spores, though. Like, you can't make a mistake. You know what I mean? If you step on one of these things, it's over. You can get a whole.
When Tess was explaining it to Ellie, okay, she said dozens. She said dozens, and I get that. I thought we were going to see 12, 15. We'd seen smaller hordes in like The Walking Dead. I couldn't believe, like you said, when our boy kind of got shot there in the Capitol. I'm calling it the Capitol because that's where we met up in the game. They don't know if they actually said it like that.
I think,
but that was the Capitol in the game. And right, and so when the strands reached all the way back to where they were, and it woke up, it looked like hundreds were coming that way.
Yeah,
hundreds.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, yo, they knocking it out the park with that. They're really selling that infected. Like, they selling this right now for me. And I was like, I love this. I love it.
Shout out to Ryan Landis. Go ahead, Eric.
No, I'm sorry. No, I was just going to say it's just a great thing of if you're going to remove something to kind of like, switch it and transition it from gaming to, movies and television. It's that care of saying we have an idea that's going to work better because it will make more sense. And they kind of touched on that too in the post-show, explanation of it. And now they've introduced something that going forward, I've seen people on Twitter already saying that's got to be a mechanic or something that they kind of bring forward in the next game. Because it just makes so much sense. And it's actually, like you said, it's in a way scarier than just the spores.
It's a lot scarier, Eric. That's the whole point I was just going to bring up as well. I was going to say that interaction there with what looked like it was a. Would you guys agree with me that it was a runner? Was that a runner that was attacking Tess at the end? Because it wasn't a full-fledged clicker.
It
at
looked
that
like
point.
it was like a late stage runner
that
as
looked-
far as like
late-stage
it's about
runner,
to turn
right?
into a clicker.
Right.
It looked like it actually looked like a stalker to me, because remember stalkers, they had like half their face was kind of grown and fungused out, and the other half was still kind of like normal. And when you look at him, that's kind of how his face looked, was like more stalker-ish, where I'm like, all right, I get that vibe. But it could have been it's like an in-betweener.
Well, again, you guys set me up great. By the way, I got to give credit to where credit's due. Ryan Landis did say just before the great detective Boii nailed it. He did put this up. I have it in there. He says, Mooch, it was all spelled out in the first episode. It was spread from the flour. No pancakes, no biscuits, no cookies. Joel and the family dodged it all. Shout out to Ryan. Ryan, you're doing your homework as well. But, this brings me to Wilmy Hood. And, one of the great podcasts I was on, Wilmy, this may be you bringing it back in the near future. You used to do like a horror fest podcast, and it was just on scary movies and people's experiences. Persona and Eric just nailed this. Leaving the spores behind and now having this situation with the cordyceps and strain and the fibers. Does this, in fact, up the horror level a bit? Because if it was just spores in the air, I mean, that's don't get me wrong.
You could put on a mask, right? And walk
you put on a mask
at the grocery store.
But now you have these tentacle-looking things, you know what I mean? That people would call the fibers that are coming out of their body. And even after they're deceased, the fungi still exists in the body, because you saw the Professor Ratna actually go in with those tweezers, pull out from a dead corpse, and it was still alive. The strain was still alive. So, Wilmy, what did you think of episode 2? And have we now upped the ante on the horror category now that we have HBO in control of this thing, along with Neil Druckmann?
I think so. And to add to what Jay said a second ago, it goes deeper than just the food. Where do you think most of your antibiotics are made from? They're made from fungi.
Yep.
Penicillin, all forms of that, comes from a fungus.
Yep.
So you can't get medication. But I think that adds a lot to the whole story, for the simple fact, if you touch anything, you're potentially dead meat.
Yeah.
And one person can't take on 300 infected. Well, I mean, you can in a video game, but chances are, it's not really going to happen. But, and also, like you just said, Mooch, when they're in that building,
yes,
the fungi actually brings those guys back. If you notice, they weren't moving. And then all of a sudden they reanimated.
Yes.
But the way she got taken out, I thought that was the best part of the entire show.
That was
the tongue kiss.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, the chef's kiss, I guess you could say. But
he definitely did that to speed up that process of her getting infected. I was like,
and
my
the
boy.
camera work, the way when they came out of that building, before they went in, when Ellie goes across that scaffolding over to the next skyscraper, did anybody really pay attention to the depth where they were showing this? And we all know it's CG, unless they found a city that actually looks like this. But
I hope not.
I mean, just the production value alone, dude, is just crazy on this show.
Yo, the CG's on point,
especially
man. Like, it looks real.
Yeah, especially if you're watching it on like a OLED.
Yeah.
Oh
like,
yeah.
This looks incredible, man. Like, this is definitely, and I when you say things like this, people tend, especially when they look at your preference, they tend to think, oh, of course it looks the best because this is your preference of PlayStation or whatever. I really mean it, man. This is definitely one of the prettiest.
Yeah, because we went in there with low expectations. We was like, praising the show. It was like, the casting is bad. I don't know how this show gonna end up.
Especially if you watch WUPS. Like me and Boii definitely picked it apart, but this is definitely the best looking show.
Because most video games and movies and stuff just really don't cross over that well.
Yeah.
They never have.
I was going to say they have a bad record. They have a really bad record of crossover. And you know what, guys? I'm kind of glad you brought that up. I'll jump down to that. First of all, I want to say shout out to the great Jimmy Harrison. The Super Chat's working, guys. It's a miracle. He says, what's up, my brothers? What's up to you, Jimmy? Appreciate you always being here and supporting the channel, man. It means a lot to me. But, I guess I will go there. I was going to wait a second, but let's get to the report card. Let's get to the report card. So I'll go ahead and say to Persona and Boii, you guys, what's up, PlayStation? Man? You guys are going to have to. All right, the report card. What now, Persona? Why are you laughing? I gotta ask.
Because when you said report card, Boii face, Boii was making a funny face, and I'm like,
I got scared for a minute, man.
Got here a report card. Here a report card. He had flashbacks.
I thought I broke one of Jay's rules. No, but let's talk about this for a second, because and I'm going to let Pedro Pascal kind of slip for a second here. We got to talk about Bella Ramsey for a minute. Everybody was hard on her, and when I say everybody, I don't necessarily mean Rolling Stone magazine. I'm talking about the gaming community. Gaming community was trying to look for a face, and that's not necessarily always what it is. Because I'm not going to lie to you guys. This is 2 episodes in. We already know this thing's going to go 2-3 seasons. And I'll tell you right now, Bella Ramsey, that's my Ellie. I mean, it works.
She's nailing it.
I will say this. I was definitely, and I wasn't one of those, how some of these weirdos in the community, going a little too far with things, right?
Wait a minute, you're saying weirdos in the gaming community? Dude, you got to be kidding, right?
So what community you a part of?
But, I definitely think that, for me, I was definitely critical where I'm like, I'm not really feeling it. And part of that had to do with the fact that I only really seen her in Game of Thrones. And I didn't really have a long rapport with her to be like, oh, okay, I've got faith. And then, that forehead, man, I'm gonna keep it stacked, man. I gotta keep it stacked. But this second episode definitely solidified where I'm like, yeah, that's Ellie. She knocked it out the park where I'm like, yeah, she sold me. I'm on board.
She is nailing all the characteristics of Ellie. Like, yeah, the look is not there with me, even after episode 2, but I'm still sold that, okay, this is Ellie. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because she's just nailing. You can have the look, you can have the 1-for-1 look, but if you're not nailing the characteristics, you're not.
That's what I was looking for, Jay.
And Bart, how many times have you seen that in shows where the person is like identical and it's like the performance is straight trash? You know, so it's like So
I think that goes to show that the acting goes a long way, right? Because Ellie's mannerisms and how she was, how she cursed and how she's very sarcastic, like especially in the second episode, very sarcastic, which I love. And I'm like,
she's sitting there eating the sandwich in front of them.
Yeah,
you notice how they looked at her weird while she's eating the sandwich. Because look, bread, but everybody eating jerky and all that. But what was funny was like acting for the gun.
Hey, Boii, man. Let me find out. You a PI? Are you a PI? Are you a private investigator, brother?
Listen, Persona, and here I am thinking that was just a delicious looking sandwich. You know what I mean? I'm like sitting there, the apocalypse. You know what I mean? You saw
they gave the weird look. It was like, yo, she really immune because she eating bread. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. And it was they had like that crazy look on their face, and I'm like, yo, okay.
But what sold me about her being Ellie as well? Like a lot of things did, but when she asked for the gun and it was like, no, right? And then she was like, okay, fine, I'll just throw a sandwich. I was dying, bro.
Yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. Like those type of like quirky quips and those mannerisms and whatnot. That's Ellie. Even in like the dangerous situations, Ellie was still very sarcastic, trying to crack jokes and whatnot. So I love that she captured that so well. Like she definitely embodies that, and I'm like, all right, that's my Ellie.
Like I said last week, if you close your eyes, you watch it, you're gonna watch it a second time or a third time, because the first time, I mean, you're watching it, right? You close your eyes, you listen. I mean, she is nailing the part, and it sounds like the character. And it goes back to what Jay was saying earlier. You can have her look like Ellie, but if the actress can't pull off the role, the looks only go so far. So, and let's not forget, I'm not going to spoil anything. There's actually people in the chat. There's people on the internet saying, I don't like how the show or the game spoils it for people. Listen, this game's been out since 2013?
2013, yeah.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yo, if you ain't played this game by now, I don't know what to tell you, man. Like,
yeah, I mean, really, I don't know how to help you there.
Wherever you've been hiding.
And that's the funny thing. Watching the show, as great as it is, the game is going to do it that much more justice because of the gameplay parts and that emotion that the game captures. And we see that with, I don't want to get ahead of you, Mooch, but with the success of like the game spiking in sales. Oof. People were saying PlayStation was done for doing a remake.
230 some % jump. So let me just piggyback off that persona. The great Sin Vendetta's here. He said, I've really enjoyed watching both these first 2 episodes. Fantastic series so far. I love this so much, in fact, it convinced me to buy the PS5 remake and play through the game again. So this was up before you said that. So shout out to the great Sin Vendetta. I appreciate that.
But this was PlayStation goal all along. I mean, they did say it. It was like, yo, this is to bring, to streamline everything from the show to the game. Where if people wanted to go back and play The Last of Us, part 1, you would have the best looking, fidelity to play this game, not like the remaster or just the original game. You know what I mean? Keep everything up to fresh.
Which I feel wouldn't do it justice. So it definitely makes sense them doing this remake, because I do think the remake is definitely the definitive version of this game. Like someone came to me and said, "Hey, I've been watching the Last of Us show, and I want to get into the game." I'm not going to tell them, "Hey, go buy a PS3 and go pick up the original," or "Hey, go buy the remaster." No, go buy that remake. That's the best version of the game.
It absolutely is. Shout out to Face 23. I like to see. Listen, by the way, guys, I welcome all criticism to the show too. So if you guys do have any issues,
I got some criticism. Don't worry about that,
please. And I want to hear them. So shout out to Face 23. He says, "I'm enjoying the Last of Us show so far. Only criticism I have is Joel didn't show enough emotion with the death of Tess." So, good on you, Face. I didn't think about that. I mean, I will also give Joel's, just to play devil's advocate, I mean, that place was about to become, dust. That was about to blow up. So he was moving.
No, he was also tearing up. He saw a tear in his eyes when he was about to leave. But yeah, look what's coming at you. Put yourself in his shoes for the TV show. Oh, what you gonna be like? No, you getting your ass out of there.
Yeah. That's a good thought, but it's something I can see them diving into.
Absolutely the best. Go ahead, Eddie.
No, I was saying that's a very very good thought. But being that we are doing a show, and I think it's it's going to flow week to week, that could spill over into the next episode, and that also could have an effect on right now where he is with Ellie. No.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. I didn't mean to cut you off. I thought you were doing.
No, go ahead, son.
No, I was going to say.
You want to hear a small? My bad. Go ahead.
I mean, we all cutting each other off, man. Somebody go.
There's a lot of good stuff to say.
I agree with you, Eric, with that, and I think because this is a show, there's a lot more to play with, where it doesn't all have to be 1-to-1 back to back, because you can play it up where now the next episode, and this is just hypotheticals, he's in Billstown or whatever, but he's also mourning Tess, and then we could get a flashback scene real quick with him and Tess having a moment before Ellie and all that can kind of tie in that emotional bond that they had. It's a show, so they have to play it up like a show. It's not a video game, and I think things like that can get, if they're going to go that route, that would be dope, and I feel like they will, because there's definitely going to be an episode where Ellie's going to tell Joel a flashback to when it was her and Riley. So why not?
Yeah. And honestly, I think we're going to get some flashbacks with Joel, with Sarah in the whole 9. I think that's going to happen too.
Good point too, right? So this happened in The Walking Dead. I know you guys don't like to make this reference, but post-apocalyptic stories, there's people who hold a lot of value in the story, but then they pass, right? They die in the show, but then they come back in either a flashback, a memory. It could be just like they've been doing, showing the past and how the world actually started to diminish to nothing. So that's a really good point. And I think, first of all, they would be crazy not to bring Sarah back. I mean, the actress killed it, first of all. Second of all, I think the entire gaming community fell in love with the actress and the way she portrayed Sarah. So that was just her coming back.
I say you can bring her back, but not this season. Wait, a couple of, or season 2, when they get into part 2 or things like that. But right now, everybody dying so fast. You got Sarah dead, episode 1. Tess dead, episode 2. It hits you hard, like, to bring them back so quickly. You know what I mean? Let people, embrace it.
Let them mourn. That's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yes.
But one of my critiques, like me personally, I love the show, so don't get it twisted. But I do like the video game beats a lot better than the show, right? Especially the meetup at the Capitol. I think the video game beat was perfect. I understand what they were going for with the show, because they're fully explaining this whole tendril system, because us as the gamer, that's new. That's a new concept to us. So yeah, you gotta change some things up. But one thing I was expecting, this might be a segue, Mooch. My bad, Mooch.
Oh, do it up.
I wanted to see a bottle or brick being thrown where the clickers was attacking them. I'm sorry. Am I guilty? Am I the only one? Huh?
No, you're not the only one. You're not gonna-
I wouldn't
wouldn't
mind to see one of the clickers get smacked with a brick. I ain't gonna lie. As a New Yorker, I'd have loved to see that. You feel me?
I was like, Neil Druckmann, you are directing this goddamn episode. You telling me that you did not have a brick or a bottle in that goddamn museum where they can throw? You are crazy.
First of all, the museum part in the game had like a plethora of bricks everywhere and bottles everywhere. First of all. Second of all, that's an interesting point. Plus, guys, correct me if I'm wrong, but when Tess hit that second clicker, she hit her with it was like a hatchet.
Or axe.
Or an axe, right?
Or an axe, yeah.
Why not use the crowbar? Why not have a bat? Why not have a piece of wood? Or why not have the machete? Right? That's another thing. So if I'm the director, I'm like, that wasn't it. But
that
weapon was not in the game.
Actual museum piece that, like, say one of the statues are holding. You know what I mean? Because you are in a museum.
Okay, so the set pieces were there. All right, I'll stand corrected on that. But
can we also talk about, like, with that clicker section?
Please.
Cinema is such an incredible thing.
It is,
especially with this, because it was only two clickers. It was only two.
Right.
Two.
Dangerous.
And I felt like that whole room was full of clickers. The way they had like the camera work set up and the chaos and everything. I'm like, yo, it's only two clickers, man.
Yeah.
And I love how they sold that. And clickers are some bad motherfuckers, man. Like, I love that. I love how they did that.
You can definitely tell people that played that video game were the clickers, because they were too on point. I was like, yo, is that CG or that's people acting? No, that's people. At the end of the show, it was like, yeah, there's people acting it. I'm like,
no, yeah, that's practical. That's also practical, like makeup. That's like actual, like the way they had a face and all that. That's practical. That's not no CGI. And I think that's what makes this show look so much better. It's because it's kind of like what's, I hate to go off track, but it's kind of like with Star Wars. The prequels are so bad because that CG is just, it's like almost everything is CG. It just, it looks so fake. But then you go back to the 70s and it's just like, yo, this is what I love. This is what it is, where they use the puppets and all that. Practical.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask Wilmy this question, but I know the minute I ask Wilmy, I'm gonna watch Eric, I'm gonna watch Persona and Jay Barry's faces light up, because I know they're all gonna have input on this. Wilmy, I'm going to you on this one though first. Do you think, because this series is following the game so close, I mean, this is unbelievably to the T to the game. Okay, I know we stepped away from the spores. I got it. But everything outside of the spores is being hit on this show. Do you feel gamers almost, I'll give you an example. I didn't read the comics, but even in The Walking Dead, the comics, they separated themselves from the comics quite early and a lot, often. So you didn't know who was dying. You didn't know what was going to happen. But here, we knew Sarah was going to go. We knew Tess was going to go. We also know somebody else, which I will remain nameless, is going to go eventually going into the second season. But my point being is it being held so close to the lore of the story of the game that it's taken a little bit of the excitement out from watching every week?
Not at all. Not for me, anyway.
No, that's fine. But why is that? I mean, so you don't want to have a surprise. You don't want to have a character that lived in the game die early, or vice versa, died in the game, made it even longer.
Well, the thing is, they may change it up at any time. I mean, they may do something different. They may let somebody live a little bit longer, may change it around. I mean, that's one of the things about watching it, especially if you play the game a few times. So I'm just curious on how they change it. They don't have to stick to every little thing, but as long as they stay somewhat close, I'm good with it.
Yeah, I agree 100% with me on that.
So you guys are happy with that? I mean, Eric, you're happy with the fact that we are staying right to the script. I mean, we are pretty damn close to the script outside of the spores, right? At this point?
Certain little small aspects to the meetup with Ellie and Joel and Tess. The meetup at the Capitol building.
The meetup where at the Capitol, she dies by like a bunch of like raiders or whoever.
No, by the Fedra.
Or by the Fedra, Fedra.
Right.
And this is clicker. So there's definitely some I don't want to say major changes, but there's definitely changes there where it's enough to where it's like, okay, I understand and I respect that change.
And I'm pretty sure the hotel caught y'all for a loop. Don't lie. The hotel
absolutely caught me for a loop, man. I was like, why are they here this early with Tess? Huh? What's going on? But it wasn't, it was something different. But I do think it's staying close enough to the source material to where it's keeping the gamers engaged because of how well it's done, in my opinion. but it's also brand new for people who've never played the game, who don't know anything about that. And you know, those are the things that I like. I love it. You know, even knowing what's happening next. You know, we're getting to Bill and Robert. Robert's alive here.
Yeah, that's what
That's
that was the point I was gonna make. That's a whole different thing for something like.
Yeah,
I think episode 3 they're doing like a time thing where I think when Joel and Ellie meet up with Bill, he's not going to be alive, but they're going to play out the whole episode as far as what build up to why he did what he did, like in the game. That's what I'm assuming, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like again, we've seen other shows.
Oh, Frank.
His name is Frank. Why I thought his name was Robert.
Yeah, by the way,
Robert was the dude in
the first episode.
So the acting, I don't know if you guys, anybody watched The White Lotus on HBO?
Only watched the first, like a little bit of the first season.
The guy who's playing Frank was the hotel manager.
He was.
Yo, and
okay.
That man is funny as hell. So and the character he's about to play, because we didn't really get to experience Frank, because Frank in the game was dead.
Yeah.
So
yeah, you get most of that story through the lore, finding things in the environment, like the letters and stuff like that.
I think what we'll see is like what led to them fighting and him ultimately trying to run out. Because remember, Frank was trying to skip out on Bill with a car and dip out, but he died. He killed himself because he had got bit. So I think we're going to see that storyline play out. And I agree that I could definitely see them doing like a time jump where the first maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes is Bill and Frank, and then it gets to Joel and Ellie, and then they play out the rest of that where it gets the car, do all that, go to the school. And if they're following by the book, we finally get to see a bloater.
That's right. You know it's coming. You know it's coming. I don't see how they avoid that. And then we were talking about maybe
do that.
How they're going to do the Rat King. You
do see one briefly in one of the preview trailers.
Yes, you do see a bloater,
like kind of emerging. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So no, Mooch, to answer like your question, I think so far, 2 episodes in, they've done a good job of kind of balancing again the things that we know, but also sprinkling in a little bit more to expand on the things that we thought we knew, but may have been this way. But again, what seems to be the case with this show versus other shows we've seen that have tackled, gaming related, topics or subject or whatever, is the care of, what it means and the characters and the IP and the whole nine. Like they're so far 2 episodes in, they've done a little deviation, but not enough to where it doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
And like I said, with the, the tendrils and everything, removing spores, introducing this, but it all makes sense in the world. And it actually is something that you go, damn, that does make more sense. And it makes it a little bit more tense. So we'll see, when we revisit 3-4 episodes away, if we're still feeling the same way. But so far, it seems like where we've had other shows that say, well, no, we didn't really follow the source material. We didn't really play any of the games. We didn't really read any of the books. We didn't do any of that. We just went in willy-nilly and went crazy. And you see the result of that. And you go, oh, I see exactly what you're talking about, because none of that makes any sense for what it is.
Right.
Where in this case, it's like the world, so far, they seem to be taking very good care of what it all is. And why. And I don't know how you guys are watching, if you're watching solo, or you're watching with people who don't know, because I'm watching it with my wife. She has no clue of any of this stuff. And I'm feeding off of her energy.
So Eric, let me ask you, because this is a question I asked the panel last week, and I'm going to get some of these questions pertain as we move week to week, because I'm also having new panel members, which is amazing to have the Last of Us, as I call you guys, the super fans. How's the wife handling the story? It kind of is a part B to what I just asked the guys. Was this? Is she following this story, or are you finding yourself having to kind of plug a little bit of the story in because it follows the game to a T? Does she feel like there's pieces missing, or does she feel like this story is being told at the right pace for somebody that hasn't played the game?
No, so far, yeah, she's, I want to fill her in on things that happened with the game or what they changed. And she's not really asking me that, like, well, how was this in the game versus this and this and this, because it's building her own vision of it. And I may explain to her, oh, that was different in this. And like I just explained to her the situation with Sarah, I was like, I don't know how they just did that shit, how they got me, knowing what was coming, they still got me, And so in this particular episode, what was really dope is the fact that just how when we played the game and you first start hearing that, that clicking noise.
Yes.
And she was like,
yes.
She's like, holy shit.
You did that pretty well.
Right?
she's like, whatever. She said, she's like, well, holy shit, what is that? You know, that's like unnerving. And I'm like, you know,
you gotta be like, try putting put a headphones on and play the game, man. It's nerve-wracking.
So that's
Eric, I gotta
so
go
that's really
back
dope
to you.
watching it.
I gotta go back to you on this question that I got here. This has kind of got me, and I didn't catch it on the first playthrough. I did catch it on the the second viewing. Just before they were on their way to the Capitol. They just got done with their fight in the museum, and they were on top of that building, and they were climbing down that ladder. You saw Tess go down first, then you saw Ellie, then you saw Joel go down. And Joel and Ellie had a lot of one-on-ones, conversations throughout this one. You could see the bond starting to grow. I mean, it was a little rough and rocky there at the beginning there when they were eating the jerky and the sandwiches there. But I'll be honest with you, it started to show the relationship grow. Did you notice after Ellie took the ladder and went down, Joel grabbed his wrist, looked at the broken watch, kind of took a deep breath, and then made his way down? For me, that was, especially for all of us that know and played the game a million times, that was me seeing him at another chance for fatherhood here, right? To be that father figure again. Remembering Sarah, seeing the similarities, that little bit of that wise ass that Sarah had, that wise ass that Ellie has. It's bringing that father figure back out of him, which he's lost for 20 years. So, you know, I mean, you always talk about it, you know, parenting and things like that. Did you see that resemblance?
I did, but I'm going to push at it from a different angle. It's part of that. I think what you're seeing is the crossroad. Like, maybe I have another chance at, you know, being that father figure, but I think his reluctance is probably a little bit more of, I don't want to get close to this girl because I can't do this again. I know what this world is. I know what can happen. I've been there. I've had this loss. So it could be like that duality, that crossroad Mooch, where it's like there's something in him that, you know, is probably a little bit, you know, finding her funny or finding her like endearing or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, I don't get close to anyone in this world because tomorrow's not promised at all. You know, hell, the next hour is not promised. And that's what, you know, Tess kind of says to him, you know, well, we knew our luck was going to run out eventually. You know, so it's just, so now my wife watching it, her thing is, as like a mother, she's watching Ellie go across the thing. And why are they letting her go by herself over there? Like that kind of thing, you know, she's like, that's making her like, you know, angsty or whatever. But that's a good point though, Mooch. But I think it's probably that whole crossroad thing, you know, with Joel, like here, you know, how much do I let her in? You know, is because, you know, we all know it becomes more than just a job as the time goes on, you know, like right now it's supposed to be a job. And now, you know, throwing in what happened with Tess, it changes the whole dynamic.
So you know, it's funny. Eric, I liked how you look at it from a different perspective. Chris Fire says, I want to see more about the origins of the virus and early stages of the pandemic. Basically, a little more of the general backstory omitted, environmentally told the game, you know, environmentally telling the game. You know, how much of this show do you guys want? Wilmy, I'll start with you and then we'll go over to Jay. How much of this do you want to be the past? There is something quite fascinating about it. We've seen it with The Walking Dead. I hate to keep bringing that up, but then I'll even say Fear the Walking Dead, I think, did an even better job. I don't know if you guys watched season 1 of that, but they did a really good job. The first 4 or 5 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead showed the collapse of our times. It showed it, and it did it over the course of 4 or 5 episodes, where a lot of other shows do it in 1 episode. So, Wilmy, what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a lot more flashbacks of the world kind of coming to an end, or do you think they're just going to keep pressing forward?
I think they're going to keep going forward. And me personally, I kind of hope they do. Because, I mean, think about it. It's survival shows. I mean, you know, you've got a ton of them, right? It's been done. Post-apocalyptic, all that. They've been done.
Yes.
At least this one, it picked up where the game picked up.
Yeah.
And it's going forward. I mean, we've all got the idea of the collapse of society, right? You know what's going to happen. We've seen it before. So I don't really think, I don't know. I just don't see the purpose for it.
Yeah. You're saying been there, done that. We've seen society collapse. I can't remember which show it was, but it was one of the ones that was doing and focusing on post-apocalyptic. And their theory was it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks for society to crumble the way we now know it when you have an outbreak of some sort.
Dude, we get people shooting each other here for gasoline during a hurricane.
Well, yes,
Man.
I don't think it would take 2 weeks.
For real.
it's at the end of the world, thank God. But
I mean, we even had people, during our pandemic with COVID, you had people fighting for tissue.
Facts.
Dude, I actually saw it myself in a grocery store. 2 old ladies.
Yeah,
it doesn't take long.
Yeah, it doesn't take long.
No,
Listen,
well, it doesn't take long for society to start breaking.
Especially with how we are now.
It's the only reason why I disagree a little bit with Wilmy there, as far as like, should they, what was the guy that said that comment? Go into the past a little bit more. I feel like they've been doing it for the last 2 episodes, because yes, they're trying to teach us this new concept of this whole tendrils idea, because for the gamers, but for the people that's new, you also get a little backstory there. But if they continue to try to disclose the origin of like how this thing became like a mass pandemic and the spread, like they kind of hinted towards in the beginning of episode 2, it also sets up the idea of like how to find like a cure, through Ellie, you know what I mean? Because now you have all this back information. Does it make sense now to try to find a cure through Ellie? Does it line up with everything that they're saying, before that, setting up this the fungus and all this ideas of it? But yeah, I like them going back and explaining that stuff, because yeah, that stuff was kind of omitted in the game. It was kind of left to be a mystery. But I like the fact that now with a show, you can take your time and piece together all those things that you always were questioning about. Like no different than like, okay, what did Joel do before he met back up with Sarah? You know what I mean? Where the people was attacking the house and all that stuff. Oh, he went to go bail Tommy out. You know what I mean? What did Sarah do? Getting this watch fixed. We saw her day to day getting this watch fixed. You know what I mean? Those kind of things are cool. And I think it's also cool to have that with the backstory as far as like how this thing really, really started.
So Barry, you think it's more fun, real quick, you think it's more fun for the gamer who's beaten this game
Absolutely
5-6 times to enjoy the show? Or do you think it's more fun for a situation, Eric, if you don't mind, I'll use your wife as an example, like Eric's wife who's enjoying the show. Let's say she picked up the controller. Who do you think enjoys this more? Coming from the show and having that background, or actually coming from the game and seeing the subtle differences we're all picking out?
I think both parties can have fun with it, because one, you have some type of idea.
Yeah.
That okay, this I play the game. I know certain things is going on, but I still don't know certain background stories.
Right.
With the person that don't play the game, I mean, they're just learning. Like a sponge, they're soaking everything up as they go on. So it both parties can have fun with it, in my opinion. But like I said, this is the advantage of playing having a TV show, is to patch up those kind of things. You don't have to necessarily patch it up in one season. You know what I mean? You can always, if the season progresses, the show progresses, you can always come back and patch certain things up throughout other seasons, like other shows have done.
I
think it will be fun. Maybe I'm the outlier. You know what I mean? But I think it will be cool.
No, I agree. I agree with you, Jay. I just want to give a quick shout out. A lot of Mooch Maniac family members here, man. Appreciate Jimmy Harrison. I see D Watts here. So many great people stopping by. Alphonso Carter, Kratos, the great Jimmy Harrison, of course. Just so many great folks stopping by the show. Let me ask you this, Persona, because Persona, I gotta say, I think of this panel, and take this as a compliment, you're the biggest critic. I think you might be the biggest critic. Where are we with our boy Pedro Pascal? Because here he is lighting up all of our TVs for the next 4 months. Because the minute this is over, The Mandalorian picks up.
Absolutely.
You're like, you know what? I think I'm done with Pedro. Guess what I got? More Pedro. So where are we, right? where are we with Pedro Pascal right now? Is he doing? We hit Bella hard. What's going on with Pedro? Is he doing his job? Is he representing Joel?
Hey man, I'm a big Pedro Pascal fan, only because Mandalorian, that's one of my favorite shows, like new Star Wars universe shows and whatnot. And him and Grogu or Baby Yoda, depending.
Baby Yoda, yes.
Yeah, I love that dynamic. Him in this show, man, I love him as Joel. I think he's great. And he's definitely selling it really well for me. He don't got the full bed. He's still kind of, out here looking like Patches, but you know, it's it's good enough, you know, where I'm like, all right, he's got the demeanor, he's got the voice, he's got the very stoic, right? He's selling that Joel characteristic and mannerisms very well in this show, especially in these first 2 episodes. Like, you know, back in the game, he ain't give a damn about Ellie, man. He was on like, this is a child at that, and I'm like, yo, he ain't give a damn. And yeah, like he I like him, and I don't ever think it's too much Pedro Pascal.
And let's be thankful they didn't pick The Rock to play Joel.
Oh man.
Hey, if they did that, bro, that would have been the biggest L in the history of television, man.
Willie, that may just make the highlight reel for tonight, because honestly, The Rock is in every goddamn thing. You know, Dwayne Johnson.
Don't get me wrong, he seems like a great guy in real life, but he sucks as a fucking actor, dude.
Just take 5.
You're definitely gonna see him as one of them clickers walk around, big as fuck, motherfucker, like 7 foot tall.
I'm with Wilmy, man. I'm with Wilmy because anytime anything action oriented or
it's him or John Cena.
Yeah, it's the same. Like it's Terry Crews, The Rock, John Cena.
Yep.
It's like
Stop
it. Right.
Stop it. You know what I mean?
I
Shout
like
out to
John.
Kratos 99, but he says amazing panel, Mooch. I really like Pedro Pascal as Joel. He even sounds a lot like Joel, and that goes back to what Boii said when he was talking about Bella. You know, the looks only go so far. That's a life lesson too. That's not just about gaming. That's a life lesson. You're marrying somebody, you better like that person more than
the glitter is not gold.
That's correct.
What's really gonna sell it for Joel Pedro Pascal is Joel.
Yes,
because it's easy to be an asshole. It's really easy to be like in acting. It's easy. It's easy because you just got to be mean. You know, you just got to. What's gonna sell it is that when you get to like the university and you start looking at her as like a daughter. And he's really starting to love her.
That's what I'm waiting for.
And really, you're gonna really have to see them acting chops, especially when he gets to the David section.
Yeah.
Let me see what you made of in those sections, Pedro. You feel me?
Right.
And I think he'll knock it out the park. But that's really where we're gonna see it really get sold, where it's like, yeah, this is truly Joel. Because right now we're really only seeing one side of Joel, and he kind of that first episode when Sarah died, he let it confirmed. You feel me? I'm like, all right, Pedro's got the range. He's got the range.
He did it.
So,
the man has the accolades. He's got everything behind him. He's a proven actor. So, I mean, that's another thing there, right? A lot of people are always comparing different games that become TV shows or movies. You could say what you want. And listen, this is easy to play, no pun intended, Monday morning quarterback, right? It's easy today. 2 shows in, I'm sitting here telling you guys that Bella and Pedro's knocking it out of the park. You'd be like, yeah, Mooch, were you so confident 4 weeks ago? I felt like these were actors I knew could handle the role, but were they going to do it right? And they're doing it right. And that's the difference. And I think that I would ask any other, like, you've got God of War going to Amazon. You got a Twisted Metal show. GT7, even when I got Orlando Bloom and a couple others, right? Go get people that have gotten Academy Awards, Emmys, people that are true actors. Let them play these roles. There's always a good, you may say, well, Mooch, shouldn't you give a chance? Shouldn't we give a chance to people who haven't maybe won some awards? Maybe, but that's where that question mark looms for way too long. This is a proven scenario with Pedro and with Bella. Yeah.
I kind of disagree with you there.
Go ahead, please. I want to hear it.
The only reason why I say that is because I do think that everyone should be given a chance, right? Audition, if you knock it out the park, whatever. Not only that, I feel like if it was up to just like getting those Academy Awards winners and stuff like that, we wouldn't have some of the Tom Holland, which I think Tom Holland is a great actor. Not even just a Spider-Man. Yeah. What really sold it for me with Tom Holland as an actor was actually in a movie he starred in on Netflix called The Devil All the Time, where he plays this serious, like it ain't no happy-go-lucky.
Oh. I saw that, dude.
Mr. Stark, it ain't all that bullshit. You feel me? It's him played a very serious role, and he knocked it out the park. I was like, yo, this guy has range. And then Spider-Man No Way Home. This guy has range. Like, that's a very different Spider-Man. So definitely, I think definitely giving it to people who.
Yo, let me play Kratos, man.
Let's do it.
I don't know. I mean, it's getting light enough, so it may be.
No, that's Batista's role, Barry. According to Twitter, like that's supposed to be Batista.
Nah, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. Hell no.
Would your speech be shorter, J Bar?
Hell no.
If you play Kratos.
I mean, if that man Batista,
all I'm gonna say is boy.
If that man Batista play
whichever
Kratos,
they want me to play, I got you.
If Batista play Kratos, he gonna come out the hut talking about "Give me what I want." Like nobody want that, man.
Persona, so a couple people in the chat are saying this, and I'll just like you said, just play devil's advocate. So you say Tom Holland. I love Tom Holland in Spider-Man, right? I love them in that movie. I don't remember the name of it. I did watch it though. It was he plays a mean, depressed, sick kind of dude in that movie you were just describing. I don't remember
the devil all the time.
Thank you. And but how did you feel? You know, we're going a little off course here, guys, but we are sticking with gaming and we are sticking with Hollywood. How did Tom Holland do for you as Nathan Drake? Did he hold it up?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest with you, Mooch. I think my PlayStation Nation card about to get pulled. I ain't seen the movie.
Oh, no.
I ain't watched the movie.
I didn't think
I ain't watched the movie. I know.
Putting it on the line.
I know. PlayStation Nation about to excommunicate me. I'm sorry, guys. Like, look, I ain't see it. You know why? You know why? But you know why? It's funny. The reason why I didn't go see it was because I truly felt Tom Holland wasn't Nathan Drake for me.
Hey yo,
like, real talk.
PlayStation Nation, pack this man up.
Oh
this man
God.
got a free voucher from buying the Uncharted game.
I gave it to sick.
Yo, pack this man up, bro. Pack this
Eric
man.
and Willie,
Yo, it's on Netflix right now. It's yo.
Listen.
Did he sell Nathan Drake? Not necessarily so, but it's a younger Nathan Drake. I felt like some certain things he caught, but the look, it's the movie itself is good though. I like the Uncharted movie, but I got to see it more. You know what I mean? He definitely a super teenager, young Nathan Drake, but the movie is good. Persona, you wilding for that. You know what I'm saying? He just told me this now, Mooch. I just found out
listen, Willie and Eric, just do me a favor. Keep your Saturday mornings open because I don't know what's going to happen on Whoops right now.
Man, you might be taking over, man. Y'all might be taking over.
There's a topic coming up on Whoops this weekend.
Why Persona Gaming? It's 12:30. He should be somewhere else right now. He should be on Whoops. No, listen, I got to be honest with you. Listen, no, Persona, I can't fault you for that. I can't. Listen, so Boii, you know this. I think I tweeted it out. I don't remember what it was. I bought the game, and so but when you bought the what was it? Nathan Drake collection? I don't know what it was. One of those. If you bought the game, you got it. I got one ticket to go see the movie. I bought another ticket. Me and my son went to go watch it. Listen, it's an action movie. Do I think it's 5 stars? No. I think Mark Wahlberg was probably the one that was miscast.
Yeah, I totally agree. It was odd singing it. Yeah, it was.
Wasn't it, Wilmy? It just didn't seem right. It was kind of like they jammed him in there.
Sully. Way too young.
Yeah. Sully around it. Even when Nathan was like a teenager, Sully was like in his 40s. Like, yo, in his 30s, bro. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Nah, man. Mark Wahlberg. And not for nothing. Mark
he's kind of like The Rock.
Is too
they throw
cool.
him in everything too.
I feel like Mark Wahlberg is too cool for a role like that. Like, if you get what I mean. Like, he can't really sell like an older, non-hit guy because Sully ain't no hit guy. Like he very
old fashioned. In there making those Wahlburgers that day, right?
Yo, shout out to Gaming Persona. My fault, chat. I'll watch it this weekend. I swear to God. He's like, back off. Please.
Chat on me.
This is craziness.
Chat on me, man.
Boii, look at Boii. I can see the frustration in Bari's face. It's so great. You guys have a great dynamic on What's Up PlayStation. That's what makes it so good. You know what we got to talk about real quick? We got to talk about expectations. Eric Jackson, voice of reason. Eric, take us home with this. Expectations for episode 3. The critics are calling it, and I wish they didn't do this. They're calling it the best episode of this series. So what are your expectations as we kind of go into Bill's Town? Do you think that they're going to... I don't want to see episode 3 be the plateau. But... And they're not saying that. They're just saying of the holy shit factor, episode 3's got a lot of it. So what are your expectations going into 3?
if they're continuing with the tone of episode 1 and 2, I expect episode 3, you know, especially since we're going to be getting into, you know, Bill's world and whichever direction they want to go with that. I can't wait to see like Bill's world. Okay. You know, especially for the fact that it looks like there's going to be some really. This seems like they're setting up to where we're going to get a little levity, a little more, you know, humor. You know, where it's been a really serious tone setting up this world and how bleak and dark it is. You know, we might be getting a little lightheartedness, a little banter back and forth, you know, some laughs, even though the world is still crazy and still going crazy. I'm expecting to get a little bit more, you know, explanation, a little more exposition, a little more laughs, stuff like that out of episode 3. So I'm looking forward to that, if that's what it actually is going to be. I'm ignoring what the critics say because, you know, they like to misdirect, and
I'm with you on
they
that
get
one,
super
Eric.
excited when they get I got the whole season because Neil Druckmann and I are buddies. You know, it's like they like to name drop stuff like that. So little shade for them. But.
No, appreciate that. Shout out to Upchuck Gaming. He said, loving the convo. Shout out to Mooch and the panel. Yo, Upchuck Gaming, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Thanks for being here, guys. Like I say, I promised you guys at the end of 2022, and I did this at the end of 2021. And you guys all know I take Crossfire very serious. There's 52 weeks in a year. I generally try to hit at least 48, 49 episodes a year. I take out for Christmas week, usually a vacation week. There could be 1 or 2 miscellaneous weeks, but I take it very serious. I promised you guys more content on the channel. One of the other things we're going to do, I do want to get Persona, Wilmy's, and Jay Bari's episode 3 expectations as well. But I did also get a review code. I say it as you did. I just got a review code for Forspoken, and I'll tell you, Forspoken's gotten a lot of press today. I played the demo. I encourage you guys to play the demo. I would not tell you whether to like it or not yet. I will do a review on it. But I'll tell you, I went yesterday and I posted a clip. It's got like 20,000 views on it. You know, according to the Elon Musk tasker. But you know, I don't know how realistic that is. But,
the Elon Musk tasker.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I don't, you know, I have no idea how legit that is. But I'll tell you something. The game, I've come to the point, and I'm going to go ahead and tip my cap. You guys think it's just because they're here? I'll say it next Friday if they're not on Crossfire, they might be on Crossfire. But Jay and Persona started What's Up PlayStation, and a very large portion. They do news, they cover a lot, but they talk a lot about games. And they got me to play games I never used to play, or I haven't played in years. And when you have to constantly go back and forth, and you're going through, especially with Frey and doing what you're doing in Forspoken, and you've got to change from your magic to your regular weapons, which weapons in this case it's almost like magic and like special magic, and then you have more skill sets, and there's just the ability to I'm not using the right words here, but dodge. Like there's just so much to do, and there's so much going on. I've come to the fact of like I like that more than just pointing the gun and shooting it. You know what I mean? So like in a first person shooter, like I like having a lot more to do. I like getting the skill set up on my own part. I like that challenge. Same reason I like a lot of I love Bloodborne. I like some of the Souls games. I like that challenge.
Listen, Mooch, Forspoken should be called Elden Forspoken Ring, and everybody would be loving the game.
They would be loving it.
You know what I mean? Because they like that challenge. But when it comes to like, oh, let me learn this game and swap magic skills and all that stuff, that's making it. You're going too far now.
I know. But like I said, I'm gonna wait a week. I want to play the game. I want to have a review out. But I promised you guys, and to have you guys all here for this show, it means the world to me. I love it. We're going to do it every Monday night, but I'll go to Persona. I'm going to go around real quick. Persona, what do you think? Expectations for 3. And you don't have to necessarily get in the story. You can just tell me if you're looking forward to it, or you think we're plateauing, or what's going to happen as we progress.
To respond to what Eric was saying about reviewers saying this is the best episode. It's like, yo, man, these reviewers say some of the most over the top, outlandish shit for clicks, man. That's really what I feel like with a lot of these journalists.
I totally agree.
Like, it's just so over the top that it's just like you can't just say it's a great episode. It's the best episode in the series. You're not going to get nothing better than whatever. Anyway,
check cleared.
Exactly. I think that episode 3 is going to be on point. Only because I loved Bill's section in the game. You know, we get the shoddy, we get the nail bomb. You get a lot of great stuff in Billstown. Billstown is very fun. It's chock full of exploration and whatnot. So seeing Bill in the show, I'm very excited to see, especially with that preview that we got for 3.
Yeah.
Fire on the gates and the clickers and all that all around, and I'm like, hey, I'm loving this. Like, this is definitely something that I can't wait to see. So
I don't see how 3 and 4 don't just absolutely knock us out, right?
Yeah,
I mean, just perform to the max. I really, really do. You just nailed it. There's so many aspects of the game that are going to come to life right now.
Yeah. Yep.
And the fact that they, again, you know, I got to almost eat my own words. You know, I was saying this early on, but the fact that they're making Frank a character that was not one, that's another subtle change from the game for someone like me who's beaten the game 3-4 times to sit down and say, I'm excited to know how this character is going to intertwine with this crew. And you know, that's what I'm looking forward to, in addition to what we know is coming from the game. So I really, really think that this is going to be, and I'm ecstatic that this is doing so well. The fact that it's doing this well, you know, look, I got the stats right here. You know, I went ahead and I tried to do my homework here before, even though this iPad don't want to recognize me. There it is. Episode 2 of The Last of Us saw a viewership increase of 22%. This is the part. The largest jump ever for an HBO original drama series. Right? That's insanity.
Hey, Barry, chill, bro. Chill.
What?
He doing that face, bro.
I can't keep up with Barry. I can't keep up with him. And last night's show was 5.7. I believe that's up from 4.1 or 4. Wasn't it, guys, from last Sunday?
Yeah, last Sunday's show was about 4.6, 4.7,
4.6,
and then by Tuesday it was at 10 million,
10.
and now like present day is at 18 million.
18.
Saw that first episode.
This show
but to
is
see that
spreading.
jump, yeah,
It's spreading just like the strain in the fibers. I mean, this is
it even trending like if you look on Sundays, like around like the 7 o'clock hours, 8 o'clock, it's trending like a Game of Thrones show would.
Yes,
where it'll be trending like number 1, number 2. Because I always put out my, hashtag, The Last of Us, and it'll always say top trending in US.
Yep.
And, House of Dragon was the same thing. It was trending. So I definitely think that this show is really, if they stick on this path of keeping it very suspenseful, good chaos, good cinematography, it looks beautiful, very interesting, very engaging. I don't see how this show can fail. But again, we're only in the 2nd episode. I think the 3rd episode is going to be great. We still got 5 or 6 more episodes after that. So, anything can happen, but I don't see it. I just don't see it because some of the better parts of the game are in that second half. When Joel, I want to know how they're going to do Joel falling off the balcony and getting stabbed, and Ellie got to take the gun and do it. It's so many great scenes that we haven't even seen yet that's coming up.
Yeah.
There's no way 3 is the best episode in my opinion. There's no way.
That's where I'm going with this. I was like, I can't see that being the plateau. There's too much.
Yeah.
Right?
It can't be.
Right.
It can't be.
And Persona, you saying all that, it kind of makes even more sense when you think about it being on HBO, because when you think HBO shows, even if not all the shows you vibe with, the one thing that they usually always bring is quality, right?
Yes.
So the story beats and the game, The Last of Us, again, as a game, is synonymous with, again, love it, hate it, synonymous with being a quality game, right? And a quality story. So you're marrying those two together, just damn, where can they go with this? What can they pull out of it? And in fact, now that it's trending and it's catching on, you obviously see that word of mouth is like catching and spreading. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's going to be something to see. I can't wait to see how this all unfolds for the first season, at least, Yeah,
shout out to Forget Me Not in the chat. He says, if you watch the podcast afterwards, which, by the way, can somebody please? I looked. Is it something I have to find on HBO Max? I can't find this podcast.
There's a podcast after the show?
They do
This is the
show.
second week that someone has told me, Mooch, have you watched the podcast? And I'm like, no, unless you're referring to mine. So I said,
I know they do the post-show like breakdown.
Kind of like how they did Talking Dead after Walking Dead.
Really? I didn't know they were doing that. I would have
nothing like that. It's just like the production crew, like Neil and like the directors and stuff.
Kratos is saying it's on YouTube, Mooch. Okay, thank you.
Oh, okay. I gotta check
that
out. Yeah, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I have to watch that.
That's definitely something that I think they should have attached to the end of the show, because with House of Dragon, I watched all of those director
Me
Yeah.
too.
behind the scenes. I like that type of stuff, like seeing like how that stuff comes together. And
I watched every one of those for The Last of Us. I watched. What'd you say?
Hey, Barry, get the fuck out of here, man! You gonna put some respect on? You gonna put some respect on House of Dragon? You understand me?
Oh, you didn't like House of Dragons?
Nah, he like that garbage ass Ring of Power, bro.
I like the show. I just mess around with people, but yeah, the Lord of the Rings show is way better than House of Dragons.
Oh my god, the Ring of Power was like a sequel. That thing was coma-inducing.
Hey,
my apologies, Ari. My apologies in advance. I'll give it another shot, Ari.
I'm gonna still get you to drink, but
there goes my drink. Damn. No, listen, we gave Persona a lot of shit for not seeing Nathan Drake, so I'll take my hit there too. No, but I gotta say, like, shout out to Forget Me Not here. He says they tell Tessa's backstory where her husband and son got infected. She shot the husband, but not the son, but decided not to. So shout out to Forget Me Not for that, man. That's the kind of stuff that I like. Even The Boys. I don't know if you guys watch it, but Aisha Tyler, I believe it was Aisha Tyler. So right, her name right. She was the host, and she would have like Anthony Starr and Carl Urban and these guys, and they'd come on. And listen, The Boys. I think The Boys is a great show.
That's another show I've never seen.
Yeah, you gotta get on that.
My fault.
You gotta get on that, bro.
I got wear some shit. I got wear some shit guards.
He want to talk about House of Dragons is great. You see what I'm saying? You got to be very precautious with him.
You can't have 7,000 platinum trophies and watch all these shows. So shout out to Persona for that. Right, so give him his flowers there. But real quick, I gotta say, the Boys isn't exactly the deep. I love it, but it's not the deepest show. So to have an after show, for an hour and a half afterwards, I just gave the panel credit. They were just having fun talking about the set, like laughing about so-and-so did this. And you can imagine if you watch The Boys, how fun that must have been to film this shit on set. So give them credit where credit's due. But this is something that's deep. We're doing it here. Everyone on this panel has played The Last of Us minimum once, probably maximum 5-6 times. I don't speak for anybody here, but it's up there. So
my wife's played it more than that.
Wilmy, how many times you got?
I'm on like 5 or 6, and I think my wife is like on number 8.
Wow. Tip my cap right there to Mrs. Wilmy, because I got about, I would say, because whatever it is, right? I did it on ground. Yeah, to get the platinum. You had to earn the platinum in the original Last of Us. Let's just say that. You had to play the multiplayer. Shout out to Factions. We're waiting for 2, by the way, Neil. I'm sure Neil's watching this. I mean,
y'all love the show. Factions delayed because y'all love the show so much. Y'all gotta be patient. You see what I'm saying? That's why I be sick and tired of all this highly praises that's going on the goddamn internet, because we don't have Factions yet. But you want to deem this show the best video game adaptation, which it might be. But Dan, can we relax a little bit? Can the gamers catch up, or the viewers catch up to episode 9? I know you media people, y'all watch every single episode. You know what I mean? Can we catch up, please? God damn, man.
Listen to Jay. Jay's preaching there. Wilmy, I'll go to you. What are our expectations for 3? And then I'm going to throw a volleyball up for our last question.
I agree with Persona. There's no way this is going to be the best episode. No way. There's way too many events that you haven't seen yet and you're not going to see in 3. I have very high expectations for it. My wife does too. We were talking about the show. Matter of fact, this morning, that's the first thing we started talking about when we woke up making coffee this morning. That's weird, I know. But our kids are grown. It's just us now and the dog. And the dog doesn't talk much. But I don't know, dude. I think they've nailed it. I think this weekend's going to be another great show, but I don't think it's going to be the best one yet.
Okay, well, that's music to my ears in a sense, because if it's just going to keep getting better, you're going to get me more excited. But I got to tell you, here's the volleyball. I'm going to go to Jay Barry. Jay loves the hot seat.
First and foremost, Mooch,
please.
I agree with everybody here.
All right.
I think there's so many set pieces that is yet to come with the show, especially after Bill's part. When you actually meet the little Ravengers and all that stuff.
Yes,
I want to see how they nail that part. You know what I mean? Like, how intense that's going to be. Because you're not fighting against us, these clickers or these runners when you're fighting against other humans. How you gonna do that?
Right. All right.
And you always got to remember, you got to worry about the other humans too.
Well, that's the thing. So that was one of the critiques, Wilmy. You kind of throw a curveball there. That's one of the critiques I've seen. People were saying this is on Twitter. I saw a few people mention it. We haven't seen enough human on human assault and anger and feuding. I think I will tell you this much, that plays a big role. We know that from the game. We know that from other post-apocalyptic shows. But that's where and you guys may agree with me, that's where The Walking Dead lost its audience, I think. After season 3 with the prison, okay, it was more about Rick and his crew fighting another crew. And the zombies ended up just being like, they were just walking around in the back like they were at the mall.
You made it farther than I did, dude. I made it to season 2, and I was like, yeah, fuck this shit.
I was downright surprised you guys said that.
After the prison season.
Mooch, sometimes you gotta let people know, though.
Yeah.
That's a dumb-ass opinion. Did you not see Fedra fighting against the Fireflies? Like, what? I don't.
And then
sometimes
Joel beating that dude's face in at the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes when I see these opinions, like, yo, are you on Twitter while the show was going on? Or are you actually watching the show? Because these motherfuckers had a shootout in the first episode. Like, what are you talking about?
No, I agree with you. Let's think about it. So the first episode was an hour and a half. The second one was it just under an hour?
Yeah, it was about 52, 55.
55 minutes, something like that. So my point being is that we haven't really seen a lot. To be a critique of that, I think that's a little early. And I get it. Let's play.
But Mooch, we're 2 episodes. It's only 2 episodes.
Persona. Let me play devil's advocate real quick. Imagine if the first 2 episodes was just the humans fighting each other, the Fireflies and the Federation. If that was, people would be like, where's the infected?
Yeah, you got it.
Right? So you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
Whatever they're doing, we're not going to get with it. So
we're not gonna get like true Joel versus like human stuff until episode 4, because these first 3 outside, because even if we're thinking game wise too, obviously, but 3 is going to be Joel, Bill, and Ellie versus the clicker. The affected. Right. 4 is when they come across those raiders, the ambush crew that tries to get at them or whatever. And then for the next 2 episodes, 2 or 3 episodes, it's going to be them fighting against like humans. Yeah, so we're going to get a lot of that in the next couple.
We're totally forgetting. No one's talking about this. Sam and Henry, big, huge parts of the show or the game. It's going to be a big part of the show. So
that's the part I'm not ready for, man. Seeing Henry die and Sam,
Sam, yeah. No.
That's one thing I don't want them to change. Not one goddamn thing.
Yeah, don't change the line. Don't even change a word. I agree with you, Boii.
Yeah,
that one I agree with you. That one, man. It's just, I hate to say it, but it is emotional hit after hit after hit when you're talking about this game. This is why when people say, Mooch, how come you keep saying The Last of Us is one of your favorite games of all time? I turn around, I go, I don't know how it's not one of yours. You know what I mean? It's just, but it does check all the boxes for Mooch. You know what I mean? Jay, I got to ask you a question because this is going to be something that hits the gamers hard. Sure. So season 3, they're saying that this is all hearsay, by the way, guys. This is not the director. This isn't HBO. It's not Neil. But I want to say this much. They're saying that possibly season 2 and season 3 could be The Last of Us Part 2, right? Because there's so much to it. There's Ellie. I mean, that's a 40-hour game. I'm not talking about platinum. That's a 40-hour game. Half of that was Abby. Half of that was Ellie. And then there's the whole thing situation at the end. So let's just say season 2 and season 3 are Last of Us Part 2. Just humor me. I don't know if that's true. Season 4. Does Neil... Because the game, The Last of Us Part 3 ain't going to be out by then. Mm-hmm. How do you make a season 4 without the game out yet? Or season 3? If you go, well, Mooch, you're wrong. Season 2 is going to be The Last of Us 2? How do you make season 3? Whichever you want to call it, 3 or 4, when they're done with The Last of Us Part 2, do you, because you know what I mean? Will me, because if you start writing and you start making a story going in that direction, okay, is the game going to follow HBO? No.
No, but you get The Rock to play Abby, and nobody want to watch that shit anymore.
Oh man!
Rock man! To the podcast. But what do you think, Jay? How are we doing this? How are they going to handle? Because whatever season it is, that's going to come before The Last of Us 3. The Last of Us 3, I think we're not going to see till like 2029.
Mm-hmm. Well, according to to Twitter, we got to take this.
Oh God.
PlayStation and HBO are working on 5 spinoffs, and 2 of them are getting greenlit. Let me stop you, chill. That's an interesting question. Because to be honest with you, when you get to like part 2 of The Last of Us, I think you can build a lot from that, like create a lot of seasons from the
Yes.
part 2 game, because you want to explore the different factions a lot, you know, go into depth as far as their daily livelihoods and things like that. So it's possible that, you know, the second game, because we already know this first season is going to be the first game, right? Or the first story beats of the game. The second, third, or even fourth could be part 2, because it's so much segments and so much, you know, story aspects to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, hopefully by that time, you know, part 3 is announced. Not gonna say it's out, but you got to take into account as well that with this new factions game, they're saying that it's going to be a lot of story elements to it. So they could probably, you know, piece some things from that as well. It's not just going to be multiplayer and that's it. You know, they're adding story components and things like that to that. So I don't know. We'll definitely see, or they can you know, create something new from there. You know what I mean? That could show Neil Druckmann's creative chops as well. You know what I mean?
So
like, okay, now
can the series exist on its own?
Absolutely.
I think so.
It doesn't need the game. You got Wilma. You don't think it needs the game? The series can move forward, and then the game, when it comes out, can have its own story.
Dude, if this show makes enough money, don't think they won't figure out a way to make it carry on with.
Well, Wilmy, you're a good example. You left The Walking Dead after season 2, and I'm not saying anyone that left after season 2 or 3. I understand why you did. I was there for all 11 seasons. That's way too long. But
yeah, it really is, Mooch, and you should probably see a doctor for that.
Listen, though, real quick, this is the situation. This is the situation at hand. That show made money till like season 7. It was still killing it. It was
when the main actor comes out on national TV and goes, "You know what, guys, it's time to give this shit up." That means it's time to give it up.
So no, I'm actually agreeing with you, Wilmy. My point is this show keeps making, and this is gonna end on a high note, and everyone's gonna be clamoring for season 2. So season 3 is gonna be coming around the corner at some point, and when that does, I'm just saying to you, we're out of game. We're out of game story. You know. Shout out to the Great Gaming Forte. He says, shout out to the host. What's up, PlayStation, Wilmy, and the guy dressed as Sergeant Johnson. That, you know, Eric, I don't know how you're going to handle that with the Great Gaming Forte. He says, watch the second episode when I get home from work. Check out the
stream. Eric, that's Major Pain right there.
Oh,
oh God.
Attention.
Oh man, that was my movie, man.
Dude, sensitive.
Oh man. So here's a question. I'll throw this out for you guys. What do you think here? Forgive me not. Thank you so much for the super chat as well. And Forte, thank you as well. You all think they'll keep the Ellie sniper scene? Yeah, I mean that's where you got just to place everybody real quick. That's right after they leave that. It's like another hotel.
Hotel, yeah.
Yeah, and they step out of there, and Ellie grabs. That's where you obtain the sniper gun. Ellie takes control of that while you go down and handle.
Because she already asking for a gun, you know what I mean? So they setting that up, you know?
Yep. So I mean, you think I think that scene is memorable enough that they would put it in.
I would hope so.
I would think they would, right? I can't see them avoiding that.
Yeah, which I think the big question though, man, is going forward, because we saw and we still see like the back and forth, love, hate, vitriol around The Last of Us 2.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So what will that do for an audience that is on this ride for the first season? And if they go with the beat to beat in season 2, that's like some people might need therapy.
You know,
who's gonna play Abby?
I told you, The Rock.
No, there's this girl. There's this girl on that Neil Druckmann follows. I forgot her name, but apparently it's speculated that she's actually going to be the one that's going to be playing Abby. But to answer Forget Me Not's question,
yes,
the sniper section, that was actually a turning point for Joel and Ellie's relationship.
Exactly.
So I feel like that has to be in the game, and that's because that was Joel putting his life in
her hands,
Ellie's hands, but also Ellie proving that she can be trusted, and that actually built their relationship even more, especially the way she held it down. If you miss like a snipe or something like that, I mean a kill, she mowing them down. So yeah, and then after that section, he gives her a gun, which is again a big moment in the game, because that's signaling, yo, I trust you. You know, we're partners. Get my back, I got your back, type of thing. They can't. Then they're absolutely not gonna skip that part.
It's a crucial part of that building of that relationship. That's what you're saying, Persona. That you just can't go without it. You can't go without it.
To the question of episode or Last of Us Part 2.
Yes,
I actually think they're gonna treat Last of Us Part 2 as a kind of like how they did the story in the game, where it's gonna be where the first season ends is where Abby runs up on her and they pointing a gun at each other, where he runs up on her in the theater. That's where the season's gonna end, and the second season is gonna be Abby's. It's gonna be Abby's section where.
That's what you're doing to me, Persona. That's the cliffhanger I gotta get.
Absolutely. I
think he's right, though.
I would love that, because you can play around with both stories in that, where it doesn't have to be 1-to-1, where it's like, all right, we're going to only do Ellie's story in the first one, then only do. No, it can kind of be that dynamic of seeing both perspectives, and then the cliffhanger is that, and then the third season is the rest of it.
You know, I love how you left some of the insane parts about that too. You said just where she holds her up there, but there's a lot that happened right before that. That we won't get into right now.
What Abby went through to get to that theater, only hatred would get you there. Only hatred.
And rage.
Rage.
You know, what a dynamic. A shout out to Kratos. Kratos99's got jokes. He says, get ready to meet the golf club in season 2. Also, Chris Pratt will be playing Abby.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, there you are.
Hey,
well, at least it's not Nicolas Cage or The Rock.
Patrick Stewart can play Abby.
There you go.
Absolutely.
No, but I mean, in all honesty, it's gonna be man. It's funny because I want to talk. You know, we talked about this when the show started tonight. You know, are there people that haven't played The Last of Us Part 2? I feel like I want to say something, but I also don't want people to be like, Mooch, I had no idea. I mean, you know that's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Man, everybody yells spoiler at everything. That's like the other day, Mooch, and me and you were on Twitter.
Yeah.
You made a comment about The Walking Dead, and I was like,
yeah.
I stopped when Rick, killed What's-His-Face. Some
Yeah.
guy jumped in going, oh my God, spoilers. I'm like, dude, the fucking show's 13 years old.
It was season 2 Wilmy was talking about.
If you haven't seen it by now, chances are you probably are never going to see it.
Season
Hey,
2,
if you talk about the Transformers movie back in the 80s, they will say, "Hey, spoilers!" Like, what we do?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
It was like
Optimus dies
2012.
at the end.
Let's stop
It's
it.
like people, like Dead Space comes out in a couple of days, right?
Yeah, don't ruin it
People
for me.
talk about spoilers.
Yeah.
Newsflash, this game's been out.
Game
before.
like 20 years old. What you mean spoilers?
Right.
It's been dirt cheap, offered in almost every service. You had every opportunity to play that game. Stop.
Yeah, while I got you guys here real quick, I don't want to go off the last one. So who's just raise your hand. Who's playing Forspoken and who's playing Dead Space Remake or both?
I'm only playing Forspoken because
Forspoken?
Monster Hunter Rise has its hooks in me.
Huh.
And really and truly, I already knew I wasn't going to. I want to play Dead Space. I really do.
Yeah.
But Forspoken, and then right after Forspoken is Hogwarts Legacy.
Yes.
I don't have time. I don't have any time.
I got a code for Forspoken.
Lucky you.
Yeah, no, I got a code too. But the thing about it is, I really Dead Space is something that's near and dear. I like the horror games, so I can't say I don't want to play it. And I think they did this one right. Shout out to them. Hopefully they do it right. Bar, are you playing both?
Yeah, I have both. But I'm gonna be on Forspoken. Maybe in February I play like Dead Space because I don't think it's like a super long game. And then I get back to my RPGs like One Piece, you know what I mean? But we'll see.
And Mooch, guess what I'm gonna play it with? My DualSense Edge controller.
Oh, can we talk about that for a minute? Talk about that for a minute. I was just reading all these things, everything I read about it is like, Mooch, you need to buy this, So I'm gonna be. I just told you guys. I know that you can get a 1-year warranty with the Sony. Right, Wilma, you got a 1-year warranty with it with the OEM there. But I'll be honest with you. Persona, can you please tell the audience a bit about that controller? Those swap. You could swap those two side pieces out.
Yeah.
Is that the Astro?
No, this is Vitrix new performance controller for PlayStation 5 and PS4, PS5, PC, and it's hot swappable. So you can actually unscrew the things with this. It comes in the thing.
Screwdrivers scare the gaming community. Be careful.
You're right. You're absolutely right about that. You
Why
are
should I have
absolutely
this
right.
screw that?
Hold up. Let me scare them again. I'm gonna scare them again.
Yeah, this has become a horror podcast. I apologize, to everybody.
That
Yeah,
Astro
I'm gonna
controller
scare
they
them
made for
again.
the PS4, that thing was amazing.
Yeah, that Astro C40 was incredible. So
Mhm.
this is like that, but in terms of like the build quality, but it's just one where you can swap out the sections of it, right? So like, for example, I just took it out and that's what it is. So I can change the position to where it can be like how a PlayStation 4 controller would be, or it can be like a
An
PS5
Xbox controller,
yeah,
too.
an Xbox controller, yeah.
And now YouTube just flagged you because you used a screwdriver on the
That's right. That's against policy.
Is it really?
No.
Oh,
No,
I was about to
dude,
say, I was gonna say my fault, Mooch.
No, you're all right, dude. Either way, it's still great content. Persona, but
That's the thing. So you never know with YouTube. Every day is something different.
it's always a new rule.
That's the
for
damn
real,
truth.
There's always a new rule.
For real.
So it's funny. I used to just delete, like, here's the new rules. I used to delete them because they were like nothing that really pertained to me. Now I read them with like a magnifying glass.
Yeah, for real.
But you know what, though, Persona, the only thing I would say looks suspect about that controller you just held up, that D-pad looked a little, I don't know.
No, it comes with
Does it come with the cross?
Yeah, it comes.
Or
hold
what do you
on,
want to
let
call
me,
the traditional D-pad?
hold up. It comes with
Okay, thank you. That's
yeah,
what
it comes with like other
Yeah.
Gotcha.
D-pads and analog, like the high concave and
trying to make this
all
thing
that
look as
stuff.
good as- that additional.
but then
D-pad,
my whole thing is the back buttons. So the back buttons, the way they're positioned is like really weird.
Mm.
And so like my hands, like, and I have big hands. So like I feel like it's kind of weird, like, because I have to use my middle fingers to kind of touch the buttons and whatnot because it's positioned too far low.
Okay. So that's the one thing, Wilmy, I don't know how much time have you gotten with your DualSense Edge?
I haven't got it yet. It should be here in the next 2 days.
Okay, my apologies. That I thought you had it. I saw a lot of people putting it out there on Twitter. My question though is I love the button configuration of the paddles. I call on the back of the DualSense. I don't like the traditional 4 paddles. Like the way I grip the controller, they just get in the way. I'm clicking when I don't want to, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to use it.
Yeah.
I think those 2 buttons that you don't have to have your traditional paddles for, I think that's going to be something that I can dig. I'm waiting for GameStop. Shout out to Forte. I don't know if Forte's still here, but I'm waiting for GameStop or Best Buy to get it. You get a 2-year warranty, and you could throw the damn thing down a set of stairs. You could drop it. You could whatever. You just can't lose it. You just can't lose it. You got to bring it in if there's a problem. But they got a great warranty over at GameStop. So I generally was just gonna say I gotta wait an extra month, right, guys? Am I right? I think it's the end of February is when it goes to other retailers.
Yeah, February is when it'll
And
go
GameStop
to
only charge you
go
an
to
extra
retailers.
$129 for the warranty.
I think, well, shout out to Wilmy for that one. There's of course a jab in there because there's people take advantage of it, but I want to say it's only
Go Best Buy.
$20. I think it's $20, right, for the warranty on controllers.
Probably Best Buy probably is like 20 or 30 or
Matter
something
of fact,
like
I'll
that.
give you a great example
What do you
how
got?
this shit works, right? Before we went on the air,
Yeah.
my wife came into my office here,
Yes.
says, honey, I think our refrigerator died.
Okay.
Okay. So I've got a Samsung refrigerator. You know how much these bitches cost, right?
Yes.
It's like 4 years old. Didn't buy a warranty. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, well, Mooch is waiting. I open up Best Buy on my phone and I buy a new refrigerator.
Right.
They're delivering it Friday.
Wait a second. A refrigerator died after 4 years? That's terrible.
Yeah, dude, it's Samsung. There was some big
That's
major
absolutely
issue with these
terrible.
refrigerators.
Yeah, that's not acceptable. Did you get a warranty on the new one, Wilmy?
Well, that's the catch. The new one, the warranty was an additional $900.
Oh my god.
Wow.
And I'm like, no.
This is the problem, guys. Nowadays when you buy something new, it ends up
You'd have been eating dry food out the pantry. Fuck out of here. $500.
Looks like cereal
I
for
had
dinner
a
again.
Samsung washing machine, like 3.5, 4 years old, just completely died.
Yeah.
Dude was
Oh,
like,
that's
the service
that's
guy came
terrible.
out. He goes, happens all the time.
Oh no, that's
You know?
that's absolutely terrible. Hell
So-
no. Mm-mm.
Shout out
See,
to
I-
Doja for life. He said it was
Fridge is supposed to
$14
last
for
at
warranty
least 10
GameStop.
years, if not more.
Nah, they don't make them like that anymore, man.
My grandmother,
no.
she still got the same fridge from like 1999. Like that
Yeah,
shit's
those,
running
you
good,
can't buy
bro.
those anymore, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing goes for like hot water tanks. I don't know if you guys had experience with that. I had
yeah.
a hot water tank. It was like less than 5 years, and the warranty on it was 3 years. It
Yeah.
popped
Remember
after
heating and air
5.
systems on your
Yeah.
house, the heat pumps and all that. You could find
Totally.
some from houses still built in the 70s that still work.
Oh, William, I'm going through that right now.
After
I'm
10
going through that
years
right
of
now,
building
bro.
my house, I had to replace all that shit 10 years later.
Even like hot water heaters and stuff like that, the old school ones. You know,
Oh, yeah.
that shit like that to this day.
They
run,
doing it on
like-
purpose,
They're
man.
still going,
Technology
dude.
is getting better, but
Well,
the stuff is getting
Well, no,
broken.
they trying to get more money from you too. It's easier. It's easier to build something that'll last you 4 or 5 years. The same thing with couches. You know, couches these days, you know, they're built only for like 3 or 4 years, or two to three, depending on the price. And then you know,
Sinking
it's
in that bitch. After
Oh,
a
you
year.
know what led to all this? Because gamers can't use fucking screwdrivers. That's why everything breaks so quick.
Everything breaks. Shout out to
100%.
ArchWarAngel, by the way, in the chat. Kratos99 says, Wilmy, he's got a solution for you. Return that Samsung immediately and get an Xbox Game Pass fridge. There you go.
Hell no.
Problem
Is
solved.
there such a thing?
No.
Problem solved. Kratos is on top of his game tonight, guys. Outstanding show. I said well, an hour 30, and I hate breaking my promise. I really do, but I kept us here about an hour and 40. Great breakdown. We went over everything that I had here on my questions. The audience was amazing, guys. Thanks for the super chats. What an outstanding panel we had tonight. We will be back next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern time, to discuss episode 3, which is supposedly supposed to be the best of the best of the best with honors. So I got to be honest with you. I'm very excited as we go into it, but I do want to do outros. And I want to say, Eric Jackson, just an honor to have you, man, twice in one weekend. Really, 3 days. I get twice on the channel. So thank your family for me, because I've actually literally had you hanging out with me for 5 hours.
Yeah, that
That
wife
is
right
really
there
bad
in the back
influence,
screen over there. Wife in the back, hiding behind the camera. I know, trust me. She gave me that look.
So, Eric,
No,
let them
man,
know where they
thank-
can find you, and I appreciate it.
No, anytime, bro. Thanks for having me. Again, man, always good to chop it up with you guys, man. And this is a monumental time, man. We actually got a good video game adaptation show so far.
Yes.
Doesn't
is.
happen often.
No, it's a
You
good
know.
time to be a gamer. This is the
Yeah.
truth.
Doom
for real,
was
for real.
good.
So coded.
Doom has some parts. I don't know about that.
Yeah,
And again,
that's one of my guilty pleasures, man. I like to do a movie. I'm sorry.
Ain't don't Doom got the rock? See, Boy, you gotta go. You gotta go, man.
Now, actually, what about Chronicles of Riddick?
I love
Oh, I
Chronicles
love
of
that
Riddick.
movie.
I love
man.
Fan favorite
Chronicles
people
of
like
Riddick, Pitch Black.
Every
Those
single
my
one.
movies, man.
Yes.
The watching the
You know what,
anime,
man?
I watch all of them.
we get every remaster remake, but we can't get that. We can't get Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yo,
I know
that's
you do.
one fact
Oh,
because
wow.
that's one of my like halls of shame. Like I played the 360 games, and I
Mhm.
always wanted to play that joint, yo. And then I'm like, why this master or remake it? Crazy.
It's so good, man. Vin's out here with Ark, messing around with like, dude, man.
Exactly. Ark.
Use that.
No, yeah, you made a great point. This is a great time. Listen. I'm soaking it up, right? That's why I wanted to do this show. I don't want Sunday to come for an hour, leave, and we forget about it. This is too monumental. It happens to also be my favorite game. So I'm just telling you, the stars aligned. I appreciate you guys taking time again from gaming, your families, work. But Persona, let me go over to you next and say thanks for being here, man. Honestly, it means a lot. It's great when I can get the entire What's Up PlayStation panel on the show. I love it. Great to see you guys on camera. Love what you did 2 weeks ago with Danielle. Of course, having the great Sean Layden on twice. Not once, twice. So let me just say this much. Persona, thanks for being here, man. Let people know where they can find you. And I'm going to be bothering you in the DMs again soon enough.
Absolutely. Not this week though. It's my birthday week. But
All right. Heads up.
but yo, listen, man. This is a great. I like this concept, Mooch. This is really good. I love, these types of things, having some great conversations. Shout out to the panel with Wilmy, Eric, my boy Bari. Shout out to the chat, man. Appreciate y'all.
Chat was fire tonight.
Yeah, chat was great tonight. If you don't know me, man, I'm Gaming with Persona. My YouTube channel is Gaming with Persona. You can follow me on Twitter at Persona Speaks. And yo, man, listen, I appreciate y'all, man. Make sure y'all hit that like button, share this out, and support my boy Mooch, man. Mooch, good peoples.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. It's been an absolute blast podcasting with you guys the past couple of years, man. It's just been a lot of fun. You guys bring that gaming aspect back. Sometimes we got to talk about the news. Sometimes we got to talk about what's going on in the industry because I love that too. But at the end of the day, what are we doing here? We play games and we love talking about them. So this just shows that passion. The great Jay Bari being next. Bari, you know how to plug the best of the best, man. You're another New Yorker. You know what you're doing. I want to say thank you for being here tonight, taking time from your schedule as well. Let people know where they can find you. And Bari, you're just a arm's length away from me asking you to do Crossfire in about 15 minutes. I'm just kidding.
It has been a minute since Bari's been on too, man. You might need to jump in the DMs.
To get him there.
Well, Bari, this week gonna be rough because I ain't gonna be here. This whole couple of days.
Bari on the road. That's all right. You can do it on location.
And true New York fashion Mooch is like, I got
Discord on your phone. You got Discord on your phone. That's what he said.
You know what? I got you. We'll Discord it up.
I appreciate that. Jay, let people know they can find you, man. Honestly, it is a pleasure and an honor to have you here tonight.
Oh yeah, man. It's always a pleasure being on here with you, Mooch, man. We have good history back in the day and all that stuff. But
yes, sir.
Yeah, man. You can follow me on YouTube, Bari. You can follow me on Twitter as well, jbari_. Don't follow me if you're sensitive though, man. You know what I mean? If you can't take a gaming joke or stuff like that, man, just mute me or keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? But nah, man, it's all fun and games over here, man. Nothing personal, nothing like that. But can't wait to play some Forspoken. Waiting until 12 o'clock midnight to jump into that. And gonna have a good time, man. It's been a great pleasure talking to all you guys. Wilmy, Eric, Mooch. I like the background as well, Mooch. You got the little spores.
Oh, you couldn't say my name either? Okay, fine.
Yeah.
I said you said put and then you moved on. See,
I said persona. I said El Persona.
El Persona. Hello, my wife. She wants the show. You understand? We like the show.
Oh yeah, check out J Bari reviews, man. The best reviews on Twitter. You know what I mean? Absolutely. I don't know. After 2 years, people still take them shit seriously. But I try to make it like a joke, as make it as common. Like, yo, this is a joke. But people still take it.
You can't joke on social media, man.
Yo, for real. Anti-social media does not play with sarcasm, man.
Yeah, I put up a bogus review for. And I said, Avatar Ang, you got nothing on Frey Holland. And people took that shit seriously. Like, I would think that's the joke. You know what I mean?
You do that, and it's funny because you do that with every big game too, and people still get mad.
Yeah,
dude, you see how many DMs I get every day? People bitching at me over stuff I post.
Yeah, Wilmy gets the hate mail is just infinite. You must have a lot of cloud space, Wilmy. That's all I can.
I enjoy every one of them as I delete them.
It's always that one too that think they got you. Like, oh my god, look at the real score. I'm like, yo, we don't give a damn.
It's and people don't get it. I don't take the shit serious. I never have. It doesn't really mean anything to me.
No, man,
but
no.
It's funny to read some of them.
It's supposed to be all for fun and games. Wilmy, let me go right to you and say thanks for being here, buddy. You actually working right through the show. Come on, because I know you're a Last of Us fan as well. You're a big horror fan as far as all kinds of things, whether it be infection or zombie or post-apocalyptic of any kind. Wilmy, great to have you here tonight, buddy. Let people know where they can find you, and I'll go ahead and start the plug. The Great Gaming Beyond the Box is now on Sunday nights, so let them know about it.
Yeah, Sunday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. We moved from Wednesdays because, let's face it, life's chaotic, and now I'm a grandfather on top of owning my own business and everything else. So,
congrats, man.
Oh, congrats, man.
Well, thank you. And so, I mean, it's just really hard to find time some weeks. And then, all last year, I mean, come on, I fucking died, literally.
Yeah.
So, I put off the podcast, for a couple of months, but I'm back because hell didn't want me yet.
That's right. Yeah. Hell didn't send the right invitation. That's correct.
Yeah. They didn't want me yet. So I'm back and we got the show going again. And you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. Look for Wilmy Hood. And like Jay Barr said, don't be sensitive.
That's right.
Sensitive people don't like what I post.
Life's too short. Just laugh. Believe me.
Well, I
right,
bet you
it
get
is,
a lot
trust
of. Well, I bet you get a lot of how dare yous. Your DM.
Oh man, I get them. I get them all the time, dude. I get them on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Because, like Chris just said,
I get a lot of. Well, actually,
Oh man,
I post memes. I just try to make people laugh. You know, it is what it is, dude. Life's too short.
I imagine everyone that like complains on Twitter, they all sound the same when you like read them complaining on Twitter and like under your tweet. Like, well, you know, Persona, I don't really understand. You know why you keep posting these things? It's not the right thing.
The new word is cope. It's cope.
Oh, copium. That's what they say now, right?
So it's amazing they can get 5G up in those ivory towers, man.
No.
But yeah, man, people don't amaze me anymore because some of the stuff I read every day is just like, really, where are you from? I just don't.
Yeah.
And then I got told I was a liar. I'm evidently from New Jersey, in case you tell by the accent.
Yeah, you sound like New Jersey, New York.
Can't you tell, dude? Right there in New Jersey.
I ain't gonna lie. I would have thought like Kentucky or some shit.
Oh, you'll fit perfect in for smoking.
You're not far off.
Not too far off. I'm actually on the coast in North Carolina, but you know, this guy swore he knew me, and I was from New Jersey.
Well, hey, listen, we all have a voice doppelganger out there. That's just the way.
Like we said, Mooch, you and Mag sound the same.
Yeah, I
know you guys aren't the same person.
I was streaming on Twitch. I was streaming a game, and someone's like, Mooch, how are you doing Twitch? I just heard somebody that sounds like you on YouTube. I said, well, I don't know. I said, I guess I'm more talented than I thought. I had no idea I could do that either. Shout out to the great Mag, by the way. He was on last week. Guys, I want to say this much. Shout out to Alphonso Carter, too. Been with the channel for so long. Great show, Mooch. Always love your streams, brother. Alphonso, I'm not going to lie to you, man. When I see you in the chat, you're always here. Just makes it feel like we're all at home. So, Alphonso, thanks for being here. I see so many people that are here, too. DC Gaming. Shout out to DC. Another guy who just games. He doesn't take any of the BS. None of that on Twitter. Just posts his games. Does his game and talk. So shout out to DC, all you guys that are here. Appreciate it. Kratos, again, thank you so much for the super chat. That was more than gracious. Thanks for all the super chats, guys. We'll be back next Monday, 7 p.m. Eastern. And of course, Crossfire, 7 p.m. Eastern time, Friday, right here on Mooch TV. Guys, have a great night and enjoy episode 3. We'll catch you later. Peace out.
It is still so strange not to have the controls.
I bet, man.
Not being a host.
Yeah, it's weird.
Mm-hmm.